Today is December 15th, 2016. It's 11:40 a.m. This is Luciana Spraker, representing the City of Savannah's Research Library and Municipal Archives. I'm interviewing Wallace Cody for the City of Savannah's Carver Village History Roundup Days project. We are conducting this interview at the historic Carver Village Community Center, and today we'll be discussing the history of the Carver Village neighborhood and the surrounding community. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Cody. Okay, let's start by having you tell us your full name.
Wallace Barry Cody.
Barry. And when were you born?
1941, January 29, 1941.
Okay, and where were you born?
I was born in Fairwood Home. That was back in 1941. But we moved out here in 1948, you know. And I was 8 years old when we moved out here. And when we moved out here, it was only one house, and that was the house living on Baldwin Street. And then after a while, next door, they started laying out, different houses there. But Mr. Mack, Henry Mack, he was moved next door, and then they started laying out the streets. So when we moved out here, it was called Waterworks and Springfield Terrace. So I went to school to Springfield Terrace. That's the building that's there now. And when I moved in here, like I said, wasn't nothing back here. All of this where we are now was just bushes and everything. It wasn't no playground. It wasn't none of that. Baldwin Street was the first street. And it went for Porter Street. It was the second block there. That would have been, after they started laying it out. The streets wasn't paved. When they did pave it, it was just paved in the middle with some stuff on the side. And the houses only at that time cost only $4,000. I think it was about 2%, for the cent, cent you had to pay, the entrance and all like that. And it was, it was a struggle because, it was in the 40s, And like I said, out here, this was a community, it wasn't like it is now. Gwinnett Street over here, in Butler, that was Butler Street, there was a library right there. And on the other side of Gwinnett, let's say north of Gwinnett, white people lived all around here because of the railroad, was out here then, And it was ditches and across the street there where I-16, it was the railroad track. And that's where the Nancy Hand was up here, where it is now Louisville Road. The champion, the East Coast champions come in here from New York going to Florida. And it was the only place in the world, I guess, where a train would back into a station. This was, up here, and it was across there with Cloverdale. That was a cow pasture over there. And so, and mostly like on the other side, it was, people mostly over there, and Springfield and then Waterworks and all like that. It wasn't nothing up there with the city lot at now, but that red building, it was a beautiful place there because it was like a city hall downtown because you could go there and it was like fish in that, it was like a pond built right in the middle in Waterworks. And what else?
So, why did your family choose to move here to Carver Village?
Well, we were living on 48th Street, and after my brother died, and my mother didn't want to stay out there anymore, around 47th and all like that. So when they found out, then they said they was going to build a, subdivision. They decided to move out in this area, And like I said, it wasn't nothing when we moved in 35 and everything, but we just decided to, my daddy decided to move out here.
Was your father, had your father been in the military?
No. noticed them saying about people from the military. It was only 3 people that was in the military out here because this was a working class, area. Mr. Mack was up there and Mr. Maynard. And those are about the only 2, but most of the other people was just school teachers, working class people.
What did your father do?
He worked at National Gypsum. That's how I did God. The same job. I stayed over for 30 years and retired from the same place.
And what did the 2 of you do for them?
Well, it was working on the dunnage machine and working on the main line, But that's where we used to make, ceiling and all like that.
Tell me a little bit about the house when you moved in. What was the house like when your family moved into it?
It was brand new and 2 bedrooms, a bath, kitchen. They said the living room was supposed to be the living room and the dining room together, but it was suitable, for a family of people. Although it was 8 of us, but we lived right there because we had double beds in the back, and he slept in the front, and my sister, we only had one sister, she slept on a day bed in the living room. But and then people started, like all of these trees and stuff, it wasn't nothing out here, it was just like a plain area, But people used to work in the yard, getting grass from different places and, bring stuff to what it is now, And that was about, the only thing. It wasn't nothing out here there. Even the bus didn't go no further than Styles Avenue. Then later on, he went for his way going out Crosby Street. That's the 3rd Street down in the village. And we had, about 1, 2, 3, 4 stores, black-owned stores. Mr. Gibbs, Mr. Washington, Mr. Mack, Roscoe Mack. And then up on Bowden Street, they were the building where the school, where the, what do you call it? Daycare, where there's kids at now. We had Crosby Brothers drugstore, that one part was there, and Louis Variety, and the black-owned Mr. Ellaby had the grocery store there. Then later on, it was on the corner, there was a laundromat. That came up later, all of that came up later on. But that was in that area there. But it was a lot of, black-owned stores out there, little corner stores, And we had Kempis and Rob's and different places like that. It was out here,
Tell me about going to school.
It was only 4 rooms there then, the building that's there now. It was 4 teachers. Now the building is still standing there, but they took the back part off because that was where the lunchroom and the bathrooms were on the back. And so later on, they tore that off, but then they built this first part, the second part, and then the third part of that. And it was just, like I say, when I went there, it was only 4 teachers. Miss Harrison, she was the principal. Miss Mingle, Miss Daigle was the 3rd grade teacher. Miss Dumbo was the 1st grade. And this, let me see what the principal. I got Miss Mingle, Miss Daigle, Mr. Harris, Miss Dumbo, and Miss Cash.
Was it still called Springfield Terrace then?
Yes, Springfield Terrace, yeah. That was the original name of the school. And I think they changed it later on, but that wasn't here then.
Where did you go to, you went there through what grade?
At that time, it only went boys 7.
Okay, and then where did you go?
And then after that, I went to Woodsville. It was Woodsville then. now it's Tompkins, but it's Woodfield. So what else?
Okay, well, so talk about maybe how the neighborhood has changed over time.
Oh, it had changed tremendously. Like I said, when we was here, everybody knew each other, and it was a community. We didn't have no cell phones. We didn't have all of that. We had party line telephones. But I'm gonna tell you what, you could do something one place, and you could bet your boots that before you get home, everybody would know. Your parents would know, the way you've been and all like that. And the kids didn't. It wasn't well lit because it was most of the bushes and all that. But you didn't run around in the street all day. You stayed in front of the house. And, at night you better be home in front of the house. And it was a good life. And it was a village. But now lately, I don't know what we call it now. It's like a ghetto, Hardsdale area or something. It's nothing, like it used to be compared, there, especially when I was a kid out here. And for it said, the buildings they had, like churches, we had about, so many out here now. It's about 5 or 6, and they're still out here. Lots of them came, first, and then some, added on later on.
What are some of the older churches? Can you name them?
Goodwill, that's on Baldwin Street. That was one of the other ones. And then after that, this, I never knew it was on Porter Street. They built one in the village. And then after, Gwinnett Street, all of those churches was new, and I don't even know about them. But Goodwill was the only, one of the original Goodwill Baptist, because he had moved off of Egan Avenue around Brown Street. That's where they built it.
Who were some of the important leaders in the community when you were growing up?
Well, at that time, Mr. Mack always been the mayor.
Mr. Mack.
Mr. Henry Mack. But Mr. Harvey, he was a professor. Miss Blow, she was here.
Can you say her name again?
Miss Blow. I think they have a picture out there in the hall now. It was several people, the ones that was here, then, some of them stayed out here, then they moved away, went in different areas. But it was really the parents, the people that was here, those were leaders. They got together, they created like Mr. Mack and Miss Nona, all of those people, they got together to, down to the school. They had to pay so much to get the, to get the playground and all like that. So they had to pay $500 for Mr. Mack and all of them. They did it. So mostly it was the community thing that made community, business, So it wasn't no one particular thing, because most of the time it was everybody was pitching and none would stand out, they would get together, you tell your neighbor, and they all try to do the best they can to, get things going on.
When you were growing up, what did the children do for fun?
Oh, they did everything. Especially we stayed in the woods all day.
In the woods?
Yeah, back here. And we would go pick blackberries, plum trees, and then we would make most of our toys. We'd take a rim and we would take and get a coat hanger, the rim, the bicycle rim didn't have no spokes, and then we would push it down the street. We would make our own, like the one things that they call now scooters, because we used to make those out of 2x4 and Union 5 skate wheels. And now they got it called a skateboard, but see, we used to make all of that. And it was fun.
Somebody mentioned the other day playing half rubber. Did you ever play half rubber? Half rubber ball? Did you ever play that?
Half rubber.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That was nothing but a mop stick with a half rubber. get one round red ball, they cut it in half. And that's what they call it, half run. Baseball, basketball on the playground. And all of those is a thing to do. Then there was a little store, Miss White had down there called Yours and Mine. That's where we used to hang up sometime. And we didn't hang out too much on the corner because it wasn't, you didn't have to do that. Mostly it was up to the little store, friends. And it just was a quiet, considered place there.
Can you tell me about some of the other neighborhoods in the area, like Waterworks or Mexico City?
That was Colette Quarters then. It was, they named it the Mexico City. Now they had, those people mostly kept to themselves. And, it's just like anything else. Wherever area that you live in, most of the people work within that area. Like I say, out here, it's different from like the Waterworks because most of those people, they took care of it. They mostly had the gardens and their chickens and things like that. It was a little different from out here, And every community, Waterworks and all those places, they weren't separate. They knew each other, but everybody worked in, the community, the whole community area, together, But it wasn't no separation, no dispute. And I'll tell you one thing, I tell people all the time, I said, boys and killings and all that kind of stuff, it wasn't none of that. I think I remember just once, but that's about it. But other than that, even when something like that did happen, it would always be somewhere else. It wouldn't be here because it wasn't nothing like that here. And I tell you, it was a good life. Sometimes I think about it now. I'm 75 years old now. And I moved out here, I was 8, so I think about all of that. Although I went away and came back, and I saw the difference in the place now, And I don't think it's not only just this community, all over now, it's changing. Something gonna have to be done about that period, but it's not gonna be done by no government. It's gonna have to be the people have to get together and decide what kind of lives and what kind of city that we want to live in.
It's that same mentality of the community.
That's right. The community.
Making the difference.
That's right. They make the difference, So it can be the government, certain things that people have to do for themselves, and they got to get together. When you get together, one person can't do it alone. You get together and you can get something done.
What are your favorite memories of Carver Village?
My favorite memories when I joined the church and I came out here. At that time, my mother was living. All of us was young then, And I joined, the Goodwill, and it wasn't. It was so many fond memories that I had, but I can remember all the people that I knew, all of those people are gone now. It's only about 2 or 3 of us live in the community. Mr. Mack, myself, and my neighbor. And I can remember how it was then, especially Stephen, she was a school teacher. And it just was, you couldn't do anything and get away with it, They used to always would tell you, all right, boy, you better watch out. And you didn't say nothing, you just said, oh, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, and all like that. But it was a nice area, And we never had, people was talking about segregation and all like that. I didn't know nothing about that because we didn't have to really go to town. The only time that I ever went anywhere was when I went to school. But other than that, this was my whole world right out here. And then after I got older, I started working. Then, in town, then I didn't go no further than West Broad Street. you know, we didn't get away too far, you know.
You want to talk a little bit about West Broad Street?
Oh my God, it was amazing. I'll say from Broadway Street all the way down to Victory Drive, there was clothing stores, nightclubs, black-owned businesses, bars, theaters, and everything was on West Broad at that time. And they used to have the parades, and plus churches. Church went on every corner just about. And it was amazing. And plus the Union Station, that was a beautiful place before they tore it down. I think they made a mistake. That's where Wendy's at now. You know, right there. That was a beautiful place there. They tore that down in Frog Town. That's now up there by Parkers. But it was something. This was just like, I don't know if you've ever been to New York. You've been to New York?
From New York.
Oh, okay. Well, down in Harlem, you know, 8th Avenue and 125th Street. That's the way it was on West Broad. If you didn't find it there, you wasn't going to find it nowhere. The ladies in the night, everything. It wasn't too much drugs, but it was there, if that's what you want. And different type of social clubs, the boat rides, and all that type of stuff. And the church now is right to St. Philip.
Environmental.
They're by Popeyes, you know. They used to have lots of boat rides at night, and you know, during the week. Then it was Derek saying that was out 17, to, you know, they take hay rides out there and things like that. But you would really have to see there, because you know how busy New York was. That's the way it was in West Broad.
So what did you think when 1960s comes and you lose Union Station and urban renewal really kind of
Came through
changes everything?
and changed everything. Because see, I left from here in 1959. And so when I came back here in 1970, I seen the change then, you know, everything had changed, you know. That's when those projects up there, they wasn't there then because of row houses, it was little railroad front houses, and those big row houses, but when I came back there, they built those two projects up there. And, but when that was, I could see the change, you know, because everything was beginning, and you know, that just like I tell people all the time about Forest in Japan, they go no further than the ring, because like a White Bluff, there was a dirt road going to White Bluff, but it wasn't nothing to go out that way with, you know. And then I came back, I mean, everything had expanded, you know, like Memorial Hospitals and Camden Hospital, St. Joe, and all those places, you know. So it was a different
city.
A different city then, and you know, you can't stand in the way of progress, but there's so many things have changed since then. That's when the drugs and everything else, you know, stuff coming in. But it was a different thing then. But I used to always say after you know, when I used to get out to school, I said I'd be glad when I grew up so I could hang out on West Broad Street. But by the time I went away and came back, it was all over. And they had lots of nightclubs there, you know. So, yeah.
Well, anything else you want to share about Carver Village?
Let's see. That's about everything I know, like I say. It wasn't no, there was always transportation because people usually walk where they wanted to go. And it wasn't bad because you could go down the railroad track and go to Louisville Road. It would be right there in town anyway. The only thing that I could say, it was a new development thing, you know. So once people got to, as far as I can remember, I was just a kid then, but after I grew up, I remember lots of, you know, these things that was there, they were all gone now, you know. And especially when it came to the people, the business, and all like that, you know, and the people that lived in Carver Village. And plus that's right, I forgot to tell you, they had Greenbrier, you know, the orphanage, that was on Porter Street. It was out here for a while before they built the other place. And all of those kids, they went to the same school I went to, and that's where I got to know them. And it was just something because, like I say, we have lots to do. We didn't have lots to do, but yes, we did have lots of things to do because lots of people, everybody mostly worked. And we took care of each other, you know, just like kids, just the oldest one would take care of the youngest ones, you know. And that's anything else?
No, I think that was wonderful, and I appreciate you taking time today just to share your memories and thoughts.
But I know I could never recall, no, it would be like it used to be, but it's a shame that neighborhoods, the way they do, even I look at the West Broadway, I look at it now, it's oh boy.
Well, it seems from what I've heard that Carver Village still has a lot of that strong community sense and unity. It still has that running through its core.
Yes, you know, see, with the ones that are here, the people, that's like Charles and I've been knowing her, we went to school together, and she lived around there by the school on the corner there. You know, the older people, the people that's, you know, been out here, we still, it's the same thing, you know. If something going wrong, don't you think if some of them will be here, you know, defend it, you know. But it's the thing, but like I mean, but there's so many new people out in the area, you know. I mean, they're not concerned about nothing. See, so but most of the ones that been out here in the time, since the 40s and the 50s and all like that, you know.
Take a real pride still in their home. And
see, because you can tell the difference. People that the owners, but see now we got lots of Section 8. I don't have no against welfare, but there's lots of people like that. But lots of people, most of these people were owners out here, and they took care of, took pride in the community. Now they probably did, you know, some of them have died and left to their, you know, the families members, and they probably not even here, you know. So that's the way it is now. But I tell people, I say, you should be proud in any place where you live, but it's a lot of people don't concern themselves about that because I guess the first thing they say, well, it's not mine, so I don't have to worry about it. But that's a poor attitude to have, you know, about anything. One thing, there wasn't too many cars out here, you know, because there wasn't too many people that had cars. Mostly, we would walk, you know, you could leave from out here, you could be in town before the bus came, you know, like, it's better than go. And it was just, you know, but most, we took, lots of people took the, you know, the bus, they rode the bus for where they wanted to go. If you didn't do that, you could walk, because see, everything was on West Broad and Broadway Street, because there wasn't no shopping malls then. And people would go there, you know. What part of New York is from?
I grew up in Peekskill, which is about 45 minutes north of the city. And my mother worked in the city, so she'd take the train into the city.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, I know you guys to go to Far Rockaway.
Well, she grew up on Long Island.
Oh, Long Island? Yeah. And I had some friends in Flushing and all like that. But no, it was good while I was young, but after that, I came in. Because I lived in New Jersey. Yeah. It was nice at that time. And plus, the reason why I left, because, you know, a job. And see,
where did you go for the 10 years you left?
Oh, I went to, first I went to New Jersey. I stayed there a couple of years. And then after that, I went to Connecticut. That's where my sister was, most of my family, you know. And I got a job at Uniworld, you know. So at that time, you know, that's when plants and different places. They were really booming then, you know, before they stopped outsourcing things. There was a lot of things, and so yes, so that's good until they terminated the plant. They closed the plant down because they moved out of schools. And because I mean, where I lived in Waterbury, you know, that was the brass city of the world at that time. But well, and see, people think that this is something that just started. They have to just start when they come to this outsourcing. This has been going on ever since the '60s. I can remember because they were talking about closing the plant where I lived forever. But you know, everybody said, "Oh, you know, it's not going to happen." Everybody thought that they were going to be there. You know, it's the same thing like in Georgia. You know, General Motors. You know, the way that was. I mean, any place that you went to, you know, and that's why lots of people from the South used to go there because of jobs. You know. And so even the people like the maids and all like that, lots of people, I know lots of these ladies used to go from here to New York and they would stay, you know, and come home maybe, you know, once a week or whatever, you know, because it wasn't no money.
Let me ask you one last question. What were your parents' names?
It was George.
George.
And my mom's name was Beulah.
Billa?
Beulah.
Beulah.
Yeah. Eulah.
Eight. Oh, fine.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Cody, I think that has been great to talk with you today. So thank you.
Mhm.